I still have unicorn hair.
He does.
No time has changed.
Yeah. So, this time, for the third of this series of vlogs, we are going to talk about problems that players are having and how to solve them.
Wait! Before we do that, let's thank our good friend Alex and congratulate him on his wedding.
Yeah, congratulations on getting married like a month ago now because we didn't do this then. Sorry. Congratulations. It's awesome.
Oh, he went to Iceland on his honeymoon.
Yeah, which is super cool. We were very
with his
jealous.
wife. And he got us this little statue of Thor in a chair.
With his giant hammer. Look at that little guy.
No, it's so adorable.
He's adorable.
So we just got this in the mail here. Doopa doopa doopa. Doopa doopa. Hey.
So, thanks for our tiny Thor.
Yes, thank you very much, and congratulations on your wedding. Well, he won't see this for 3 weeks.
Yeah, I know. That's why I said when you start getting that. It's okay. He'll appreciate it in 3 weeks. It'll be like our really belated thank you note.
I guess so.
3 weeks is like no time in the world of wedding thank you notes. So.
That's true.
The video note shows we care.
We didn't even. Okay. Maybe we should just write an email too.
Yes. We love you, Alex. Hopefully we have said that before today when you see this.
Yeah.
So anyway, back to vlog. Okay. This week's vlog, we're talking about player problems. How do I solve them?
Player problems.
Like half these questions just start with the word help. Okay.
Help.
Help. All right. The Scions in my group who have order have been having a really hard time lately because the group as a whole can't seem to not break the law in the course of their adventures. Which virtue have your Scions found to be the most inconvenient or that gets them into the most trouble?
Let's see.
Virtues are all inconvenient, but I'm gonna go with vengeance. They fucking hate vengeance.
I think vengeance is the one that usually somebody in a group does. Everybody else goes, "Holy crap!
That is insane. What are you doing?"
You died because of vengeance.
Yeah, the thing is that they're often in like all the virtues have moments where it's just the worst thing that's ever happened, but vengeance is the one that most often that ends in a player character dying.
Yeah.
We've noticed, at least for us.
All right. I think probably. I mean, what has killed people before?
Vengeance is bad. Valor's pretty bad. That's almost taken people out several times.
Harmony's killed somebody.
Yeah, Harmony did kill Theo.
Yeah.
That's what happened to Theo, yeah. He used the old Cheval Purvey to jump into a human, and then just for the purpose of using that human as a skin shed, because he was being chased by something he knew he couldn't survive, and then murdering that poor human just to survive triggered a Harmony roll, which made him go bananas, and he got killed. So that was a bad decision.
Alright, well, who's died? Let's figure out if they've died from extremity. John Doe.
Nah, he didn't die of extremity. He died of being a werewolf.
Right. Okay, yeah. John Doe is werewolf.
I mean, he died of Titan problems.
Theo's Harmony.
Theo with Harmony. James Keenan in our Gangs of New York gang definitely died because of vengeance extremity.
He didn't.
He didn't extremity. He died because of just vengeance virtue.
He died of expression extremity.
That's right. Well, okay. So the reason he died of expression extremity is that he had laid all this groundwork with his vengeance to get the entire police force of the city hating him, and then expression extremity didn't get up on a mic and just trash them, and they all had guns. So it was bad. Extremity deaths. Yachty wasn't an extremity.
Nope.
Terry was an extremity. Kitty was an extremity.
No. Simon? Yes, Simon.
What was Simon extremity over?
Harmony?
Probably. I mean, yes, it was, because there was a horrible super weapon about to go off and he couldn't leave.
He was using it.
Yes, he used the giant super weapon and then was like, what have I done?
What
have I done to the environment? I will atone for this by attacking a monster I have no prayer of surviving.
Yep.
Yeah. I don't think too many others. All the Irish kids went down in just combat.
Yeah. Just normal combat.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I think that might be all of them.
Yeah, but their order is one of the ones that perennially cause problems because Scions will want to do things that local authorities tell them they can't do, and then they just have to deal with their order. Like
now, people generally just roll for their order because in Eastern Provinces, everyone has
order.
Mandatory.
Yeah. And you know what? They make a much bigger effort in that game to obey the rules than like in Gangs of New York, where only some people have order. And there's like, eh.
Yeah.
In Eastern Provinces, they're just like, if we become the authorities, we can do whatever we want.
Hey, I'm a police officer.
Boom.
Or I'm a congressman.
Exactly.
But yeah, I think order is really one of the easier ones to follow. Like just there, it's got a nice strict set of rules. All you have to do is follow those rules.
But they're very clear cut. Like you don't have problems where you're like, I don't know if this is an order problem or not. Like you usually know, and it's something that because laws technically most of the time should theoretically be good things that protect society. They shouldn't be things that like you're like I can't follow this law right now. There are times when that happens. When you're like, I have to do something, like I have to steal a weapon because I have to fight this thing right now or whatever. Mm-hmm. But most often it's not the most difficult one. It's things like courage, which just goes fucking batshit that you can't handle having extremities.
I find valor people have the most problems with because in a group setting, they always want to use multiple people to fight one monster.
Yeah, and then they can't gang up on someone.
Yeah,
and it's also
and then the rest of the team's like, we want to gang up, and the one valor guy's like, no, guys, don't do it.
Yeah, and it's also valor's also a big problem for collateral damage. Like if a human is getting hurt in the fight, and they're like, well, if I go save that human, like some of us, the Scions are going to get knocked out, and the monster may win, but valor's like, I don't care, go save the human.
Yeah. So I really think, yes, their virtues are problems, but just do what you're supposed to do.
Yeah, do what you're supposed to do.
I've
seen more conviction extremities than I have expected in my life.
Well, that's what I was going to talk about. I think conviction extremities are one of the, or conviction in general, I think is my pet peeve virtue.
Not enough people are really using conviction
I like
correctly.
it in theory, but no one uses it correctly. And whenever I have someone roll it, they always complain because conviction is technically do what I want to do. And so I'll have them roll it for something, and it's always, but this is what I want to do. They're like, well, kind of. It's not really what you want to do. It's what
you
is
think is
convenient.
Expedient.
Yeah.
Like, what convictions should be is you saying, these are the things that I really believe in, or that are my, core wants and beliefs, and so that's what conviction applies to. So, yeah, maybe you want to run away from the monster right now, but if your conviction is normally all monsters must die, you have to roll your conviction to run away.
Yeah. I think, were I to redo conviction, I would have it like Vengeance, where you have a conviction kind of
like a list
hierarchy. If you did old Sabat, they had a warrior code. What was that called? Path of Honorable Accord.
Yeah, honorable accord. You couldn't lie or
Well, Path of Honorable Accord was always you had to write it down. Like it was like conviction. Like you can do whatever the fuck you want, but
these are the things you cannot.
These are the tenets, and I can't do these things.
I can't break these no matter what.
And I think that will work really well, and I probably want to shift to that for conviction. Basically, it's just a lot of work. It's not on the character sheet yet, so I haven't worried about it.
You have to, as the ST, you have to know what the character's convictions are, so you can call them on it. And that means you have to force the player to set them, because players will just not do it if they can get away with it.
Yeah, they'll be like, this is the virtue that I do what I want, and I roll all the time. So what I usually do is I say, when someone rolls conviction, when someone wants to add conviction to a roll, I say, oh, okay, tell me about why this is conviction. I do it with most virtues, but I'm like, okay, tell me about most virtues that aren't obvious. Tell me why this one is conviction. Oh, well, I really want to save Joe, so I'm going to dive in front of this bullet to save him, and I need my conviction roll to make that.
Okay, do you understand that your conviction is Joe must be saved?
Yeah, so next time...
if Joe is in danger later, you might have to roll your conviction.
Yeah, so next time it comes up to saving Joe, and you're like, well, I gotta run because I don't want to die. I'm like, well, then... But saving Joe is your conviction, so whenever Joe's in danger and you're not saving him, that's now on your conviction list, because that's what you said your conviction was. Conviction should be more of a core belief in a set rule of principles that you believe that people are doing.
I like using Shaddan as the example, because Shaddan is one of our Eastern Promises character, and he's kind of a gadabout. He's a Persian prince who just kind of does what he wants. But his conviction is all about he needs to be having a good time. And so he actively triggers conviction rolls on himself when other people make him do stuff he doesn't like, or when he's like, well, I could be going to do a fun thing, but I'm going to go do things that are responsibilities instead. Like, he actually triggers conviction extremities from doing his job, which sucks, but that's what his character's about. Like, he's gone into conviction extremity because he tried to leave an opium den when he wasn't done opiuming.
Yeah.
And so, that's the kind of thing where, you need to know what is that character's, what are the things that are important to that character? Not just what they want to do right now, but what is actually important to them. And that's what your conviction is.
Whereas I do redo conviction, I would either do that, have maybe a code of 5 things that people kind of follow, or they are blank and they can kind of fill out as they make their character or something like that. And that would be in a world where maybe every virtue had 5 things.
I don't know if I like that. I don't know if I like restricting it, because as they grow and change, they may get new convictions they didn't used to have and want to add those. To use Sangria as an example, she would have had 5 convictions to start with, but then marrying Jeff, that would have added new convictions to her list of bullshit to deal with, and having children would add new convictions, that kind of thing. So you might, I could see maybe you have to have 5 to start with. I can see
Okay.
that.
Maybe 5 to start with.
Yeah.
Or a rotating list of five topmost or something. Maybe 10 topmost. But yeah, so or conviction does something like all your other virtues are harder or more. Like, so if you had vengeance, expression, intellect, it'd be like, okay, well, I have conviction, so I believe all of those things double. I can use
Anytime I roll any virtue,
I can
roll
use conviction to basically get a free channel of any of these other ones, or I can like pretending I have those instead of like.
But anytime I trigger one of those rolls, I have to also roll.
You have to also roll conviction
because I'm pissing it off along with the other virtue.
Because what is most important to me is these 3 other things.
And that actually often happens to conviction people, like because their virtues are going to naturally be attached to things they believe in strongly. So
right. It was one of the things I was thinking about for Inuit, which made me think.
Oh yeah. We've been talking a lot about the Inuit.
If they had a 4th virtue that was like, I do my other 3 virtues harder.
I only have these 3 virtues because fuck other virtues, but I will just be super, super hard-assed about those.
I have magical 4th virtue that lets me 3 virtues better. Yeah, good. Question answered.
All right. Help, I'm a combat character, and social characters in my party constantly tell me what to do.
How dare they use their powers when you want to use your powers?
I can't even get angry at the characters because they pop boys will be boys, blame James, or just lie to me with God's honest. Please don't tell me that the answer is I have to play someone smart, witty, or attractive to resist them.
They use their powers on you. When you threaten to punch them, is that fair?
I understand your frustration. I'm going to tell you, as the person that plays Sangria, I understand your frustration. The social characters just drive me around like a car. But that's what they're built to do. Like, this complaint is you saying, I don't like that they're using the stuff they spent their XP on the way that stuff works. And you decided, as a character, that I want to put my points in other things. And I don't want to buy any of the things that involve resistance. And I understand you saying, oh, I don't want to be pretty or smart or witty. Sure, but those are the things that allow you to resist other people.
You could also be ugly.
Yes, you could also be ugly. If you decided you didn't want to do any of those things, that's fine. But you made a conscious choice as a character to say, I'm going into this with no resistance to anything, including enemies, not just my friends.
Also, as a combat character, it sounds like you're very, very boring. Like you're.
I don't know what your personality is like. That
what? But if they're saying, I don't want to invest in anything else.
I don't know. I don't think we can make that judgment. But what I do think is that you're looking at, like, the social character's job is to drive you, the combat character, around. Because you are not equipped to make decisions. Because you didn't buy any intelligence and you didn't buy any wits. Mm-hmm. Like, they know they are probably always going to have a better decision-making capability than you are. Like, their job is to be able to go and say, people, this is what needs to happen. Or to talk to their intelligence character and then make it happen. Like, the social character's job is make the stuff happen. Your job is to fight things. When you're not fighting things, then it's no longer like your turf, you know? That doesn't mean you never get to make decisions. You never get to do anything of your own free will. But it does mean that the social characters are going to be able to use their powers on you, and that is what you signed up for.
Right, like, at the same time, I mean, they're going to be able to stop you because they're the social characters. But it's also just as fair that you can punch them and they would die.
Yeah, and I know people have had this argument a lot where they're like, but I can never punch a social character because they always stop me. That's never actually true. Like, you can just ambush a social character and kill them, depending on what they have. But the thing, and you're not going to do that because you have the invisible constraints of I can't kill my party members, and that kind of sucks. But I guess the question here is, what are they making you do that's pissing you off? When you say they're bossing me around, does that mean they won't let you fight things you want? Or they make you go to parts of the mission you don't want to do? Or they tell you can't make noise while they're sleeping? Because that's all kind of stuff you have to deal with out of your party members.
Yeah. I mean, I assume there are some social players that are giant dickbags.
Yeah, and if this is a problem with the players are being dicks to me, then you need to talk to the players and say, hey, I'm not saying you can't use your powers, because that would be bullshit, because I get to use my combat powers all the time. But if they're like, you're like, these people are actually picking on me, like, out of character, they're getting joy and just being a douchebag to me, you need to talk to them. Or you need to talk to the storyteller and say, I feel like this game is intentionally being mean to me. What do, you know?
Or, hey, my character's reaching a point where he's been, like, manipulated and bossed around so much that I feel like he may lash out at some point.
Yeah. And, you know.
So just so you guys know, He's around that point, and you can tell with perception and everything. So either use even more powers on me to fix that, or
maybe back off.
Back off.
And, you know, that's the thing to tell them both in character and out of character.
Yeah, it's a great thing to tell them out of character.
And, you know, tell them out of character, guys, I don't want to fuck up the party, but you've pushed my character into a corner. I'm worried he will lash out at you soon. And yes, you could use that OOC knowledge and like fuck me up with social necks, but it's not going to last forever.
And it's not really OOC knowledge because probably if they're social characters,
somebody should have the perception
empathy
roll
to know
realize
happening.
that you are hitting the skinny edge of I don't care.
Especially if you apparently have no socials. So your
you're
manipulation
never
is bullshit.
It's just on your face. I hate you.
Yeah.
Well, part of the problem is that with social powers, you may not hate them. This may be the player saying, this person uses charisma all the time and makes me love them and I can't do anything about it.
Okay, so if that's the other scenario. Well, then you love that person. Why is there any problem? Start playing like you love that person. Remember that you love that person.
I mean, the issue here, it sounds like to me, is that you don't like being told what to do by other members of your own band. But if you're going to play somebody that can't resist and you're going to play with other people who have social powers, that is what's going to happen. That's what's supposed to happen. That's what they paid XP to be able to do.
Yep.
If you don't like that, your options are to either invest in things that let you resist. So integrity, Arete integrity if you're Greek. You can get birthrights that can do that. You need to buy a knack in at least one of those things, which I know that there's some, like, the tenor of your question tells me that you're saying that's not fair, that I have to buy one of 3 of the basic stats of the game to do that, but that's not a tall order to ask you to do.
Not at all.
If you want to be able to resist powers, like, in a supernatural sense, then you need to invest in something that does that, like being smart enough to think through them, or being fast enough to avoid them, or being so stunning they can't deal with it. Like, you can't just be like, no, I want to be a basic vanilla character that never invests in anything and still somehow beat their powers. That's not fair to anybody. So, I know you said don't tell you that, but I'm telling you that. That's the way it needs to work.
Yeah, I mean, you need to, as a player, realize that this is how the game needs to work. Like, you need to be able to invest in the things you want to invest in, and they need to be able to invest in the things they want to invest in, and those need to have meaning. Yeah. And in a world where they don't get to tell you what to do, and they shouldn't have to be using powers all the time, because
if that guy has 5 epic charisma and he tells you what to do, just fucking do it.
If he's beating you that often, that means he should just be beating you all the time. Like, he should have to stop rolling if he's going to trounce you.
Because if he has that much charisma and you actually like him, you should be playing like you like him. Yeah. Not like he's making you do stuff and you hate him.
Yeah.
If he has that much manipulation that he can convince you of things, you should believe those things. Like, it's not like your character is ever going, God, someone just used a power and made me do it. They're using a power that makes it your idea to do it. Yeah. And that's frustrating, I know, and if you are the kind of player that cannot play in a game where other players can make you do stuff, like that just drives you crazy, you may not want to be in this game.
Or Scion at all.
I mean, I have heard there are Scion games out there. Like, if you find a Scion group that feels the same way, I know there are groups out there that say we don't use powers on our party members. I would never play in that group, but if that's...
That sounds horrible.
It does sound horrible. But if that's the group you need to be in, maybe you need to find that group. We're not at all trying to be cruel. It's just what you want is to say their powers don't work on me, and I don't want to have to do anything to make that happen. And that's not fair to them at all.
End question.
Right. Okay. Is it possible that a Scion who's achieved godhood might eventually lose all touch with their original humanity and embrace Titanhood?
That question is answered. Okay.
If I'm a Scion, could I eventually become a Titan?
Lose all humanity was like the weird.
Well, I guess you don't have a lot of humanity left if you're a Titan, right?
I guess we don't really...
You don't really have a lot of humanity left when you're a god either.
Exactly.
Like, once you stop being a
Once
demigod, you
you
actually are out of humanity.
You've out of humanity.
You may still have connections to humanity, but you're not.
Or you have human-like feelings, or... Yeah.
But anyway, yeah.
Yeah.
You will not be playable anymore at that point, unless you're playing a really weird game. But yeah, it can happen. We have had that happen with one god level character went full Titan. 2. Happy.
Okay.
Allison.
Oh yeah. Oh right.
And Hachiro 3.
Yeah. 4.
Yeah, so we've had several characters that
all NPCs though, or like they were
PCs, and then when they did that, they became NPCs because they can't be played anymore. But yeah, definitely. But becoming a Titan means that's not a person you can be anymore. It's not a person anymore.
Yeah, not a person.
So definitely. Force. And if you like role playing like that, I hit the point of no return. Totally role play it. Just be ready to lose your character if you do that. That's fine.
And really, kind of what sucks about it though is that at that level, be prepared to not be able to play that game anymore.
Yeah, when you're that high level, like it's hard to get
there's
back
too
into
much
a new
history.
character.
Yeah, there's too much history to make a new character. Like I would say probably if 2 of the characters in our God game died or became Titan or whatever, I would probably we would just end the game.
Yeah, there's just not a lot of, like... I mean, we could be like, okay, you come back in and play JRTs or something, but there's really not a lot of... Like, that would just be so different and weird.
Yeah, it would just be different and weird.
Basically, that story would have ended. I mean, you could start a new story that maybe even had some of the same characters, but it wouldn't be the same story anymore.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's totally possible. It can happen. Alrighty. How does the Order Virtue handle vigilantism in areas where that is illegal? Does it make an exception for your divine right as a Scion to administer justice, or will a Scion in the situation just be on the phone with 911 all day?
That should have been the other one.
I think they're the same person sending it to you.
Right. It just should have been right next to the other
Oh, sorry.
one.
No, it's still illegal.
Well, is it illegal where you are? Probably.
Yes,
because
that
it's
was the
illegal
thing.
everywhere.
Yeah.
Then, yeah.
By definition, vigilantism means it's illegal.
Yeah. It may be illegal and you do it anyway.
And that's fine. You just roll your order.
Yeah. Just roll your order and be like, well, my order is handling my order.
When you say, does it make an exception for your divine right to administer justice? No, never. That's what the Code of Heaven boon in justice does. If you don't have that, then you never get to do anything that is against the law and have justice or order be cool with it.
Yeah.
Because by definition, order says you follow the law is there for a reason. Order is the virtue that is all about the system works. Use the system.
Yeah.
So if you're not using the system...
Go change the system.
Yeah, if you want to get a new law passed that says, that's illegal now, or you want to do what the current Gangs of New York game did, which was just, I'm going to go get authorization from the government that lets me do that, then you're fine. Do whatever you want. But if you're doing something illegal, order always triggers, even if it's in the interests of the greater good. Because order doesn't care why you're doing it. They care that you're breaking the rules.
Who are you to call the greater good?
Exactly. That's the whole point of order. It's kind of like that system's there for a reason to help people. If you think the system is wrong, you need to try to change it. But you don't get to just go out and say, I'm going to make an executive decision, me, with no other input, that I don't have to follow the rules.
Yeah. So, no, fuck you.
Yeah, if you see a robbery in progress, call 911. Maybe make a citizen's arrest, but you do not get to go out and shoot that guy in the head.
No. Yeah, I mean, peaceful citizen's arrests are, at least in this country, very illegal.
Yeah, depends, and it always depends on the laws of the place you're at. If you're in Texas, you can shoot a guy if he's on your lawn.
Right. It's all about following the laws.
Yeah.
And there's lots of places you just shoot people if they're on your lawn.
That's true. So yeah, just you need to... Order's always the one where you need to know the law of what's going on.
But I mean, that's part of who you are as a person, so that's something
you
are
believe
invested
in the law, so you're going to go out and find out what the law is here.
And even if you don't know what the law is your order kind of, tells you what's right and what's wrong,
Yeah. It's not going to magically give you knowledge of obscure law codes, but if it's something that you're just saying, well, no one ever told me that specifically.
Right. You can't be
do you have an epic intelligence? You probably know that's against the law.
Like if you're going down the highway and you're like, well, I haven't seen the sign in a while, so I can
go
drive
80.
80.
You cannot drive 80.
No, I mean you can't drive 80, and I mean maybe
that's
you could drive 80
per hour, so that's 100 kph.
As soon as you saw the sign, you would roll order. You wouldn't go, oh well, I didn't know, so it was okay. You'd be like,
I've been breaking the law.
I've been breaking the law.
Yeah, it doesn't.
And then there's no going back.
Yeah, then you have to roll it because you've already done the thing. It's like if you accidentally shot a child, you still have to roll the valor, even if it was an accident because you shot a child.
Yeah. Or, valor. Yeah. I was thinking order. Yeah.
Oh, same thing with order though.
Same thing with order, unless you went and turned yourself in.
Yeah, if you were doing something completely normal and legal, and you accidentally did something that was not legal, you still got to go deal with your order. You got to either roll it and say, well, I'm going to pretend that wasn't illegal, or you got to turn yourself in. Mm-hmm. Follow the appropriate procedure for when something like this happens.
Yep.
That's what you do.
Laws.
Yeah. Call 911.
Hey, I just killed a guy, so if you could take me to jail.
Yeah, hey.
Everybody else, I am done with the story.
I would like legal counsel, and I would like to, explain my side of the story, but I got to go. Yeah. Go turn myself. I mean, I killed a guy. I
may not be not fun. It's a pain in the ass, but
yeah, I can't really go bury him in the backyard. I'm just going to roll order 90 times. Mm-hmm. All right.
Cool. End of question? No, we have more.
No, end of question. We have more questions though.
More questions.
End of that question. What are the limits of boons like fire immunity or safely injured?
The limit is god level version of that. So used by a god, wielded by a god. So if
well, not necessarily wielded by a god, but is god level.
Correct. Is god level, yeah.
Right, because if a god only has
level
5
also
fire,
also is not necessarily that, because a god can use level 2 fire to do damage to you.
Yes. Okay. So the god has to have god level fire.
Or
at that point, they can say screw you.
Yeah. Once you have level 8, fire immunity doesn't work unless that person also has level 8.
Yes.
And then you do a post roll.
So if I have level 8 fire and this guy has level 5 fire with fire immunity, my fire boons still work on him as if he didn't have fire immunity because I am a god of fire. He's just some dude that has a couple fire boons.
Right. But
if we both have level 8 fire then we're going to both roll our total number of fire boons, and whoever gets a higher wins. So if the guy with fire immunity wins, he's not affected. If I win, he's still barbecued.
But if you are Legend 8 and have level 7 fire, and I am level 1 with level 1 fire, my fire still works fine.
Yes.
My fire immunity still works fine. You cannot touch me.
Or if I'm Legend 10 and I am a god, but I only bought level 5 fire, you are still immune to my fire because I'm not a god of fire. I'm just a guy that bought a little bit of fire.
Yeah.
So same thing with earth, and those things always work on mundane. So it doesn't matter how much normal fire is on a person. If they have fire immunity, they're fine.
Yeah.
It only affects it if there's magic, and it doesn't matter how many tons of mountain fall on a person that has safely interred. It does not hurt them.
Could take a while to get out though.
Yeah, but they might be in there for a long time, but it's not going to hurt anything.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's very simple. Just like mundane doesn't matter. Supernatural just depends on whether or not it's a god level thing.
Mm-hmm.
You're good. Alrighty. I play a fate character and I'm getting burned out. My ST ignores fate bonds because they're too complex, and his prophecy boons are reduced to dice adders because the visions are irrelevant or they never come to pass.
Okay, this is a long paragraph. Can we sum up?
I'm doing that.
Okay.
I've tried to use a void of fate and it didn't. It still happened because it involved the PC, and the ST said dictating what players couldn't do messes with the narrative. Is this normal? And do you have any advice on dealing with it?
Okay. I don't know how you used Avoid of Fate, but your description of what the ST said maybe was wrong. Or maybe you were wrong in that particular instance. The rest
I can't tell because like Avoid of Fate.
Like, I couldn't use Avoid of Fate on you, in my opinion, to say you can't touch cats. If you have, like, a pet cat.
I think that might actually work, but it wouldn't be on me. It wouldn't be that I can't try to do that. It would be that fate would make it so that there were no cats.
There were no cats. Yeah.
Those cats would run away before I got there.
The way it sounds like is you're the other player and you want to go hit that guy with a sword. I couldn't be like, you can't hit that guy with a sword.
No, you shouldn't normally do a fate that is you can't do X. You should do a fate that is X won't happen. So you'd be
X,
like, that
yes.
guy can't be hurt by swords. Then it doesn't matter if I hit him with a sword. But
The other guy, you use it on the other guy.
Yeah, use
you
it on
say
the other guy,
that guy
you can't be hurt
is
by
immune to
swords.
swords.
But it is not true that you can never use a Void of Fate to involve PC characters. For example, if you have a PC character that's about to die, and you'd be like, it is not his fate to die right now, then he does not die. That's a completely legit use, and we've actually used that in game. Aurora did that to Woody. He got decapitated, and they just carried his head away and regretted
Ghosts use that shit all the time.
Yeah, Ghosts did it all the time. He'd get reduced to, like, human wreckage of, like, burnt DNA, and just be like, someone heal me before the Avoid of Fate runs out, and it's okay. Or Avoid of Fate, like, if someone other PC is looking for something and you don't want them to find it, maybe you hid it from them for their own good or something. You can use Avoid of Fate and be like, they can't find that thing, and then Fate will make sure they don't find the thing.
It's better. You're going to get better results.
It's always better to target the other thing. It's better to say it's not the fate of this object to be found. And then no one will find it, including the person that you're
Or be found by that person.
But saying nothing that affects a PC can be done is not correct. Like, that's incredibly crippling for that boon.
Yeah.
Never do that. As far as prophecy boons are just dice, that sucks. I'm sorry. I don't know what to say about that.
What's that mean?
He said that they don't actually give any prophecy visions. The prophecy boons are just dice adders now.
Oh, I mean, that sucks. Visions are hard. I mean, that's work.
They are. I mean, and normally you have to kind of reverse engineer them. You have to be like, okay, I'm having a great vision now of the future. I won't know what it is till it happens, and then I can be like, I saw that.
Mm-hmm.
And that sucks, because, we don't actually have future vision, and we don't know what the players are going to do, so.
But, I mean, it's work. And I have to get reminded that people have prophecy every now and then, too.
Yeah. Especially for, like, if you have for the level 1 minor visions, which is just the ST has to do it sometimes. If you haven't had one in a few months, we're normally like, please remind us.
Yeah.
I'm going to be like, hey, I have prophecy on Zoe. Why hasn't she seen anything for a while?
Yeah.
And you check and see, is that on purpose or just,
Usually I say, oh, it's because she has 1 dot and she has 0 cult. She's retarded.
Right. So
Maybe
it's
you
fine.
had some vision you didn't notice.
But this person is a fake character. So.
Yes. No. You should be getting visions and you should be doing stuff. I don't know. Classic, hey, talk to your ST. It sounds like you're not going to get anywhere with it, though.
Yeah, it sounds like this ST does not like using fate as an aspect. Because if you're going to completely not use fate bonds, if you're going to never give prophecy visions and just say you get some dice, if you're going to say you can't use magic if it affects other PCs, they're telling you I don't want to do fate in my game. And so playing a fate character is not going to work very well.
So I don't...
And I feel you on being burned out because you are being told you can't do things.
Yeah. You're being told you can't do the thing you invested points in.
Yeah.
Was it this episode where we talked about just that? The
yes,
fire character?
we talked about fire characters. It's the same thing. The ST, except the ST is doing it to you now. The ST is saying, I know you bought a lot of stuff. I'm not letting you do anything with
Yeah.
it. You invested in it and it's useless. And that sucks, and I'm sorry.
That sucks. But yeah. I can tell you, we could give you some advice on how to talk to STs and stuff, but it really sounds like he's not going to budge.
And since, and Fate is a lot of work. Fate previews are a lot of work for an ST.
Yeah.
And it sounds like he's not interested in putting that in. So you may need to, at this point, I think my game plan would be go to the ST and be like, hey, I invested a lot of points in this stuff that you don't seem to want to run. Either I need you to put more effort into doing that for me, or I need you to let me make a new character.
Or let me switch those points around.
Yeah,
do
or
something.
Let me say I don't have prophecy anymore because it doesn't do anything. And let me give it something else.
Prophecy and mystery are dead in one of our games because of the actions of the PCs.
Yeah, they did it to themselves. That's very
important.
important.
I would never take that away from people for no reason. But it's part of the story, and they're trying to get it back. But that definitely they don't exist. So all those points got spent other places, and they just don't have those things anymore.
Yeah.
So see if he's not going to use Fate anyway. See if something can work into the story where that happens and those points get spent somewhere else.
Or even sit down and say, hey, it seems like you don't like storytelling Fate. If you're going to not want to do it, can we just remove it from our game as a house rule and say, that doesn't exist anymore?
Yeah.
And that way people can get other stuff. There's not going to be any confusion. You're not going to have to run something that you obviously don't like running.
But, you really have to enjoy the game or the people to even do that, because it sounds like an unenjoyable experience for you. If you're already burnt out, and I don't think, honestly, for someone, if he's not willing to put in the minor work to make this stuff happen, I feel like it's probably, the burnout may not just be Fate related. It may be other things. It may be everything. So this game may not be great for you. You may want to think about leaving it as another option too.
And if you really want to see the coolness of Fate stuff and get that to run, you always have the option of saying, hey, I want to run a game myself that actually uses that stuff. And that way that gives you a chance to do it, see it from his perspective, maybe try to figure out how you would want to run that stuff. Mm-hmm. You might learn some stuff you could share with him so that he could do it more easily, or you might just get to run the Fate game yourself, and you don't get to be a player, and that sucks, but...
And you know what? Maybe there's a chance you see how much work it is, and you say, "Whoa, he
no
was
wonder.
right.
I'm
Fuck
sorry."
This. Yeah, and then you can go make a different character and join that game again or something.
Yes.
So that's good. I think we have one more question. Looks like.
2. One of them got smushed together. This is not.
Oh, I see. You're summarizing. Make more sense then.
All right. 2 of my players have Malak, the Canaanite PSP. The problem is the entire campaign can't focus around 2 cities. I try my best, but other characters can use their PSP every game, and the Malak users can't. So how do I help them?
God, if only someone told the person writing a PSP, "Hey, I feel like it's gonna be a little crippling."
Okay, I don't know what level your people are at, but one of the major things about Malak is, especially early on, it's all about the ruler of the city, not necessarily the city, and the ruler of the city is a person, and that is a portable thing. So,
Whoop.
I'm gonna put this person in a bag and take him around with me. So, a lot of Malak is going to revolve around the person.
Revolve.
Going to revolve around that person. So, the ruler of your city is a good place to start. The city that you're going to have someday that you don't have yet. Unless you're like Legend 7, and then you probably have a city by now.
Oh, a great way to do it, if I may butt in.
Yeah, jump in.
Is, I don't have a city yet. I don't know how the PSP works very specifically, because I said it was a bad idea. I'm sure it's wonderful.
Thanks.
Very, very sincerely.
Oh.
But you could say, I'm going to have a future city.
Uh-huh.
I want that king of that city to be my real life brother.
Okay.
So I'm going to my PSP is going to work with my real life brother. And he's going to be on adventures with me. And then one day, when I get the city, throwing him in charge.
Exactly. You're looking at, and mortals are squishy, and you have to use mortals for Malak, so you might lose some, but you can always make a new one. That's the great thing about the purview.
My brother died.
Oh, new person, you're king now.
Don't have a city yet, but you're king of nothing.
Once you do have the city, it is harder, because those boons are all about if I'm at the city, then I have bonuses. Part of that is just on the player to proactively go and say, okay, how do I make things happen at the city?
What level does that start?
I want to say your Legend 7.
Your Legend 7. So your Psychopomp has teleport.
Exactly. At that point, that's on the player to say, okay, I have Malak, my powers are going to be all more awesome if I'm at my place. What I want to do is try to get, if we have to have a diplomatic meeting with somebody, have it at my place. Or if we need to study something that's very important, do it at my place. Anytime that we don't have to be on location for something, be at my place.
Once our PCs are gods, they're doing that for the most part anyway.
Yeah, because
Jeff's
you
always
always need a home base to do stuff.
Yeah, you need a home base. If you only have one guy with Moloch and you're To be like, guys,
That's just my home base.
I have a whole city. We can just hang out in it.
Yeah, and that's a really, actually really great, because that's something that gods are doing when they hit God, because they have sanctums. And they can just be like, or not sanctums, but they have sanctums and they have overworld, like, property. And so they can go there to do stuff. But when you have Moloch, you actually get that a little earlier. And you're able to be like, here's my home base. I'm setting it up, maybe from like Legend 4. I'm setting this up to be like the awesome place we go to be ground central for we do stuff and we plan stuff, and it's our home base, and it's where we go to rest, and it's where we go to study, and it's where we go to make sure that we've got all our stuff, and that's where we keep our important people. Like, it's a great place for you to have as the focal point. Yeah. You aren't going to be there all the time, but it's always the place you can come back to. And especially once you get to that level of I have psychopomp boons, then you can start saying, I'm even just going to leave the people here and just come back here all the time. And I know as early heroes, you don't get as much of that because, you know, you're heroes and you don't have a lot of powers and you still have to drive cars.
We're almost a year in. I haven't let my one game leave New York City.
That is true. If one of them had Moloch, they could just be sitting there. Like, Queens is my Moloch town. I see that you do have 2 players with Moloch, and that is a little bit more fishy because you're going to have them fighting.
St. Paul.
Just the
St. Paul,
split
Minneapolis.
City. Yes.
Queens and Brooklyn.
Yeah, you just need to put their cities right next to each other, and then you can like run across the border when you need to do stuff. If that's not feasible, you are going to have some issues where they're going to fight over who gets to use their base that day. Like they're going to, but it's also a time when presumably, I don't know, but if these characters have some different skills, then you're going to be like, if we're going to do something that character A's skill set's more important for, go to their city.
We're doing healing, we go to A city. We're going prophecy, we go to B city.
Yeah, you know, whatever makes the most sense at the time. Really, that just gives you more options if we have 2 home bases now instead of 1, and, you know, we can go to either one, and if, God forbid, something horrible happens to City A, we still have City B to fall back on, and City A you have Molochs who can rebuild a new City A when you have to. So yeah, requires a little more creativity with how you're going to run your adventure. If you're used to just globe-trotting, every adventure happens in a different place and we just go there till the adventure's over and then go to the next place, like that's going to be hard. But you need to recognize that they have Moloch, and so they're going to want to come back to a home base and make that a thing that is not that difficult for them to do. Mm-hmm. You know, give them the opportunity to do that. Remind them if they're confused about how to use it. Hey, you can come back to places. Hey, set up a place that's a home base for you, and then let them do that. You know. You don't have to fly them home every time they finish something, but, you know, make it an option that they can explore if they want to. Mm-hmm. So yeah, it's just it's a little more creativity.
But totally do.
Yes. Last question. Can Epic Perception see ghosts? My ST insists only death senses can see ghosts, but that seems counterintuitive to me. I can use perception to see fate itself, but I can't see dead people.
Your ST is technically correct. We're writing a neck.
Yeah, technically, you cannot see dead people unless you have death senses. And right now, that's because the control over death and interaction with death is such a core concept to a purview that we have not put it in perception. But you're right. It is weird that you can see the strands of fate, but you can't see spirits. Yeah. So we are probably going to write a perception knack at some point that lets you see kind of into the spirit world, whatever that means. It's similar issues with Tsukumogami spirits, like why can't I see things if I have alternate perception?
That needs work, and then also magic eyes.
Unlidded eye.
Unlidded eye.
Same thing. Like, why can people with unlidded eye see stuff and I can't, even though I can? Like, something in that perceived fate tree in the perception thing should probably give you some of that power.
I think it can give a similar power at just a much higher level, right? So you get unlidded eye at level 1. You would get unlidded eye in perception at a level 3 knack.
Right, because as a god of, a budding god of magic, you are instantly attuned to that. As somebody with lots of epic perception, you can see it because you can see everything, that's what you do, but you're not, focused, zeroed in on that thing, so it's a little bit
Then the
more
ghost one should probably go in the electromagnetic tree.
Right, seeing spectrums you can't normally see, you can eventually get to the spectrum of, spirit things that are around me.
Yeah.
And maybe dead people will be one and different kinds of spirits will be another.
It'd probably be it would be higher in the tree, and it would probably have a legend cost versus death can just do it for free.
Exactly. Death is just boom, I do it.
So, but you're right. Your ST is correct.
Yeah, they're not shafting you. It's just that it's a weird area because you don't want to say to the death people your power is not important, right. Especially since it's a very neat thematic power for a level 1. But it is theoretically something that probably perception should be able to do at some point. Yeah. So, we have not written that knack yet, but we will.
But it is on the list.
So many things are on the list, you guys.
It's a big list.
It's a big list.
And we're tired.
Yeah. I'm gonna turn this blog off now.
Wait, is it the last one?
It's the last
What
one.
are limits of boons like fire immunity?
We
You
answered
did them
that.
in a different order. You tricky wicked. Okay, we're done. Goodbye, everyone.